Get started.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we're calling this meeting to order. As we've been doing lately, the first thing we'd like to do is invite anyone that has any interest. 3 minutes to address the city. Anybody have any interest in, John, I understood that you might have some interest. 3 minutes to address the city. No one's got anything? All right, then we're going to go on to item number 3 of the agenda. We're going to approve the agenda. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Jamie, thank you.
I'll second.
Dave, thank you. A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item number 4, consent agenda. Chris, if you would, please.
Minutes from January 12, 2016. Recommendation to approve the minutes of the January 12, 2016 City Council meeting as presented.
Can we
Make
get,
that motion.
Fran, thank you. We have a second.
I'll second.
Jan, thank you. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. All right, item number 5. It's entitled Appointment to the EDA. If you would, please.
Yes, I'll start by saying Dan Stile would like to have been here tonight, but he is out of town, so I'll fill in for him. We had an opening on the EDA, and the EDA did interviews, and they have chosen Marv Soldner, and he's here tonight, so.
Would you be willing, please, if you could sit up here so everybody can see who you are? I think most of the community knows already, but if you could have a seat right there for a second, please. Okay, please.
And then EDA has a recommendation to appoint Marv to the EDA,
Excellent.
so.
Excellent. Council, do you have any questions for Marv? Or otherwise, I'm just going to ask Marv if you would give us the elevator version of who is Marv. So, would you please?
Oh, I should wait for objections, I suppose.
Okay?
None?
None.
Okay. I lived down the street, First Street, for the last 30 years, and I recently retired. I've got some expertise in management and marketing and a bunch of different operational things, and I'd like to give that back to the community. So I saw the opening and I thought I would apply. And I know some of the people on the committee. I've been involved with some other development boards and some other things like that, so I wouldn't say that I have a lot of expertise, but I'm willing to give it a good effort.
Excellent. Marv, thank you. Council, do you have anything for him? Otherwise, do you have something?
No.
Okay, otherwise failing that, I need a recommendation, please.
I make a motion.
Motion, Fran, thank you. Do we need a second? Jan, thank you. Motion a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Marv, congratulations. We
Thank you.
appreciate your,
Thank you.
and we appreciate your willingness to serve. Thank you very much.
Great, appreciate it. Thank you.
Item number 6 on the agenda, appointment to the Park Board.
We also had an opening on the Park Board, had a couple applications, and the Park Board is recommending to appoint Bill Thielen. I don't think Bill's here. He said he didn't think he'd be able to come. He had a commitment with one of his kids, but Joe Herron talked to him. He's the chairman of the Park Board, and set it up, so that's who they're recommending we appoint to the position.
Questions?
Any
Otherwise,
relation?
Any
relation to you?
He is not. Well, wait a second. If he's a really good guy, he probably is related to me. Okay? But I'm not certain how.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, we need a motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Fran, thank you.
I'll second it.
Dave, thank you. Motion a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And again, just for clarity's sake, it was done tongue-in-cheek, but there is no close relationship between Bill Thielen and myself. But Bill, thank you very much for being willing to serve on our Park Board. Item number 7, Cold Spring Business Park lot sale. Please.
Jake is here. Would you mind grabbing a seat? This is Jake Saponiak.
Welcome, Jake.
I've included some information in your packets. Jake is interested in buying a lot in the business park, and gave you a map showing where that lot is, and his proposal. The EDA met a couple weeks ago and talked about this. Jamie and Fran were there, and their recommendation is on the agenda before you. I don't know if you want to ask any questions of Jake before we...
Council, do you have any questions that you'd like to address? I would have to like to say one thing. First of all, my understanding is you have 2 units in the business park already, correct?
I have one lot right now.
Okay, but
2 buildings,
2
yep.
buildings on it,
Yep,
right?
correct.
And it seems to be going well. That's why you want to do some more.
Yep.
So we would like to thank you and congratulate you, and thank you for being interested in continuing with the growth and the success. So thank you for that. Council, do you have anything at all?
Nope, I'm
Okay.
happy to see the expansion.
Yeah.
Exactly. Are you sure you only want 1 lot?
One's good for now.
Okay,
yeah.
good. But you keep it open mind for coming back for a potential 3rd lot?
If you're giving lots away, I'll take 2, I guess.
At this price, we pretty much are.
Yeah.
All right, can I ask you to,
Yes, and just one thing I wanted to point out is this, it's kind of carving out part of a lot from an outlot, which isn't currently platted, so we'll be coming back with a plat for that. But we're gonna start by having the city attorney draw up a purchase agreement. So, you ready for me to
If
read
you
this?
would.
Okay. Recommendation is to accept the recommendation of the EDA for the sale of part of Outlot C in the Cold Spring Business Park, approximately 150 feet by 220 feet in size, to Jake Saponiak at a purchase price of 85 cents per square foot, with the city to pay the platting costs, and to direct the city attorney to prepare a purchase agreement. Furthermore, to authorize the platting of the property upon receipt of the executed purchase agreement.
council questions? Otherwise, we're looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Fran, thank you.
I'll second.
Jan, thank you. Motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I believe you've taken another step towards another lot. Do you have any more comments for us?
Nope, should be
Questions?
good, I guess, as long as we can get it platted out, that's the next step, right?
Yep.
Are you anticipating building similar in size to what you have?
Real close to the same, a little bit smaller, but
Okay.
pretty much just, it's gonna look the same, just gonna be a little bit shorter.
All right.
Yeah, so next up, we'll be getting you a purchase agreement and get that executed, and then we can start the platting, so,
Super.
okay?
Jake, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for
Thank you very
coming.
much.
Thank you, Jake.
All right, next item is item number 8 on the agenda. Item 8 is the adoption of the 2016 fee schedule, ordinance number 344. Chris, your turn again.
This is an annual thing we do, adopting the new fee schedule for 2016. We highlighted the changes in red on it. If you're wondering what the highlights in yellow are, those are just the things that we have to charge sales tax on. So it's our reminder whenever anybody pays us for one of these things to charge them sales tax. On the 3rd column to the right is all the water and sewer charges, which you've already approved by ordinance. We just adopt them into the fee schedule. And then everything in the first 2 columns in red are changes, most of which we've talked about at other meetings already, such as the driveway permit and the stormwater deposit, the driveway permit deposit. The event security charge, that's what we charge when the police department does security. Those, we just update each year according to what our costs are. And then the only other thing I really wanted to point out was, this is just my suggestion, and I'm open for comments or suggestions on it, but would be just to possibly lower, or I shouldn't say lower, just not increase the sewer connection fee. As I explained in my memo, we've been increasing it every year for, I guess I don't know off the top of my head, I think I put it in there, 12 years maybe. And when we started raising, goes back to 2002. So when we started increasing it, it was in dire need of being stepped up. But it feels like it's getting kind of high, in my opinion, and it is the highest of the neighboring communities, so. With that said, we all know the sewer fund isn't in the strongest of condition, but we probably only issue around 10 permits a year for new construction, so it's not the largest source of our income by any means.
So does this version of the fee schedule include the raising by the $300?
No.
Oh, it does
In
not?
this one, I kept it the same.
Okay.
We can definitely change that.
Okay. Council, first, before we approve this, let's have a philosophical discussion. Again, going back to 2002, the council at the time decided that something needed to be done. We made an agreement that we were going to start raising it every year, and that's what we've been doing. What do you think? Should we keep doing it? Should we slow it down? Should we stop it? What's your wish?
We gotta stay ahead of our bills.
We have to stay ahead of it.
Right. I mean, we don't have to stay far ahead of it, but we have to stay ahead of our bills, so. And if we watch that and watch our costs, and I think we should be okay.
Okay. So are you saying leave it like as it is proposed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can always, for me anyway,
Yeah,
and we
I-
can always do something again about it, but for now, I think.
I think, yeah, we're in a good position
Yeah.
right now to leave it without an increase for this year.
I agree.
Okay.
Agree.
Excellent. So the way it's presented right now, the way Kristen and her team has presented it for right now, it does not reflect an increase over last year. So, God bless. What we're proposing is that we approve the fee schedule as it's printed here.
Can I just add one thing?
Please.
I guess I didn't mention this when I was talking about the changes, and what I'm looking at is in the bottom of the middle column, and you'll see connection charge, and it says connection charge sewer, which is in white because we didn't change it. The connection charge water, which also has yellow on it, so maybe that throws it off a little bit, but it's also in red. That shows a $100 increase, and that also has been going since 2002, but obviously with that's been 100 every year. That one is certainly at or below the average of the community, so that one I did keep, the increase, what we've been doing. Just wanted to point that out, so.
Thank you. Council, what do you think? Should we move forward with it?
Let's make it happen.
Make it happen. Chris, if you would read out number 8 for us, please.
Recommendation is to adopt ordinance number 344, an ordinance amending the city code of Cold Spring by adjusting various rates and fees.
I need a motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Fran, thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Jamie, thank you. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. Chris, thank you. Item number 9. John, come on up. Your turn, sir.
What's the timer? Give him his 3 minutes.
I have the 3-minute timer here. Is that what-
It's gonna take longer than that.
All right, good. All right, John, your turn.
All right, we need some action on the maintenance tech 2 position to approve the hiring of Paul Schreiber-Noss. He was unable to make it tonight, otherwise he would have been glad to be here. Pending successful completion of a drug test, physical, and background check.
Okay, we should do these one at a time?
Yes.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen of the council, what that is that's item number 9A on the agenda. Can we get a motion to
Yeah,
approve it?
I'll make
Fran,
one.
thank you. Can we get a second?
I'll second.
Jamie, thank you. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. First of all, John, congratulations, you have a new staff member. And second of all, Paul, welcome aboard. Sorry you're not here, but welcome aboard. John, please.
All right, it was brought to my attention that they put in the budget for a new pump truck last year, or for this year's budget. So basically, Ron and I went last week to Bayer Trucks in El Rosa and took a look at it. What they have is, I believe it's a 2000 model F550, just a straight truck, and then they'll put a flatbed on it and then mount a hoist on it for pulling lift station pumps and anything else that we have that's heavy. We can use it as it's a 5,000 pound crane. Right now we have like a 1,800 pound crane, and you basically have to be directly above the hole with the truck. With the current crane we have, this one will allow us to stay away from the hole a little ways, and it'll be just a bigger asset to the public works, and a lot more safe as far as pulling pumps and stuff. And you know, as we grow, our pumps get bigger. The more flow we have, so the heavier the pumps get. So basically, approve the purchase of a new pump truck. It's to be built at Buyer Truck in El Rosa, not to exceed $28,000. It's in the 2016 budget. Wastewater capital expenditures 14-70-72-6413. And then they'd need a $5,000 check from us to start building the truck.
Council, any questions about that?
Will we be getting rid of the old one then, or?
Actually, Ron has use for it over at the maintenance department. He's going to put a dump box on it. He's gonna build one or something and use it for hauling snow and different things like that, so he's got use for it.
So the truck itself, we're going to keep, the utility will change, but the truck
Yep.
itself? Okay, excellent. Anything else, council? Otherwise, I need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Jamie, thank you. A second?
No, I'll second it.
Dave, thank you. A motion and a second to purchase the pump, or the truck. Any, no other conversation? So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
What else have you got for us?
Just some updates. John Atchison passed everything and he started on Monday, so yesterday. He did great. Pete said he did a great job in the snow removal process last night, and he's going to be a great asset for us to have him aboard while Ron's on FMLA leave act for sure, so it'd be nice to have him around. Then I got a well update. Brian, myself, and Sue, the attorney, met with the Fraleys to discuss extra land purchase. We gave the letter of intent to purchase, and we need 3.74 acres to make the site, extra acres to make the site work. And I have it here, we were waiting to hear extra land price, but we actually heard about that today, was it, I believe?
Yesterday.
And that they staked out the proposed well site and treatment plant site out on the property. So if any of you guys are interested in seeing that, we can go out there. Otherwise, we have a meeting again with them on Friday to discuss some of the stipulations. Other than that, that's about everything we got going on with that.
I think so.
Were they pretty receptive?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty minor things that we're looking at. I think it's nothing too major. Some things with the power and different things like that, but they're very cooperative, I thought, and
Well, that's great.
yeah, we're very easy to work with.
Good.
And then last Friday, we had a meeting with Senator Fischbach and Representative Howe. Just kind of an update on how that went. So I said we met with Senator Fischbach and Representative Howe last Friday to discuss why we weren't on the governor's list for bonding, and as well as just to kind of talk about and give an update of our well search and water and different things. They assured us that was just a list and isn't set in stone. Also, Senator Fischbach wants to get together with us and multiple people affected, like well drillers, golf course superintendents association, the brewery, city of Woodbury, irrigators, etc. This would be to form a group that's heavily affected by the DNR and the negative impacts to the trout stream, just like us. We need to show the legislature how important this is to us and how big of an impact it will have on us, the brewery and other organizations out there.
Excellent. Thank you for that. They seem to be pretty receptive during the conversation to working with us as far as going.
Absolutely.
Okay?
They're definitely on our
Excellent.
side, I feel like, so.
Excellent. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I got.
John, I want to say one thing real quickly before I open it up to the council. Thank you for that update. Again, it's nice to know that you're going above and beyond and trying to find as much as you can, doing as much as you can for the community with regards to the wells and stuff. So again, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Council, anything else for John?
No.
Excellent. Keep it up. It's all right. All right. Why don't we switch on then to, now, did you have another meeting you have to attend
I
tonight?
can wait till Brian.
Wait, okay, all right. And again, thank you very much for this. Okay, Brian, number 10 is for you.
Mr. Mayor and Council, just some updates on Red River Avenue. Working with the county on, we cleaned up some of their storm sewer design. We had some conflicts, so worked with them to alleviate the conflicts. They're looking to send their plans in here end of the week to the state. And then we're just cranking away on the city portions, which are the utilities, the street lighting, and the streetscaping. Just working on those, still looking at mid to late February to bid. A lot of things are still up in the air as it relates to when we'll actually start the project, detours, etc. Really, we're looking probably to start first thing in the spring or as soon as we can if the contractor wants to get in there. couple portions of the project are a little more time sensitive, especially from 2nd Street North through the roundabout. Basically, it's tough access through there, especially with building the roundabout. So we're looking at that section is actually going to be done during the school break, so during summer break. So it'll be stipulated in the contract that they have to start by a certain date and be completed by a certain date so that we can get it back open for school. We have a couple of detours in mind to get people around town. There'll be an overall general detour for folks to get around town if you're coming from the south or the north, and just to avoid Cold Spring. I believe that's going to end up going through Rockville. Otherwise, in town, there's going to be a number of different scenarios. It's going to depend on where we're working and what we're working on. One of the big things that'll be there to our advantage is what you had approved at the last meeting was the autoscope camera on the stoplight. That's going to allow us to be a lot more flexible as to how we get traffic through the intersection at Main Street. So the idea is to try and get that intersection done as soon as possible so that we can use it with different local detour scenarios. So there'll be a lot more information forthcoming once we know, and a lot of it will probably end up being adjusted as on the fly through construction, and we'll do our best to keep people updated, getting information out to the public as to what's going on.
Excellent. Thank you for that update. Appreciate it. I think everybody in town is curious as to what's going to go on, so that update, I think, is very, very beneficial. Thank you.
Otherwise, just we had met, when did we meet? Last Friday with the winter development. They're moving along. There's a couple of things that have to be ironed out in the site plan before they get going, but they're getting really close. So city staff has been working with the developer to try and work through some of those issues.
Council, any questions about that? Okay, excellent. Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's all you've got.
John covered the well stuff, so.
Okay. Council, anything else for either of these two gentlemen? Gentlemen, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And John, thank you and your staff for doing a nice job on the streets. We appreciate it. All right, item number 11. Chief, I believe that's you. Item number 11 on the agenda, Chief of Police Report, Chris Boucher.
All right. This one's very brief because it's just basically just talks about the month of December. So number one just briefly talks about the incidences that occurred in Cold Spring for 2015 December. 317 calls in total, 33 medicals. That was extremely high. I even told Angie, I'm like, that number didn't seem right, but it is right. So that tells you how many times the rescue guys get called out. We had 8 suspicious vehicles and people reports, 2 city ordinance violations, 1 open business door, 146 traffic stops. 121 of those had warnings and 64 had citations. There was a lot of TZD that was in that month also, so that's the reason that number is high. Then we had 127 calls for police services, so when people call us up, so there again, that's a very high number. A lot of people are on vacation and so forth, so people tend to call us when they're at home, obviously. We had 6 drug violations and 11 alcohol violations. I did look at those, and a lot of those were open containers in motor vehicles, things like that. I didn't see any DUIs, but it was a lot of alcohol related. There again, because of the holidays, people do things they probably shouldn't. We had 1 first-degree burglary and a second-degree assault that happened in the city of Cold Spring during that month. Number 2 just kind of gives you a, it's not the year-end report, we're very close. Angie's been doing a very good job getting that together. This just kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like. In 2015, the police department handled 3,635 calls just in the city of Cold Spring. Last year, 2014, that was 2,700. So as you can see, that's 935 more calls in the city of Cold Spring. And a lot of that has to do with not covering Wakefield. So the officers are in Cold Spring more, Richmond more, spending more time. So obviously that number would be higher. We'd expect it to be higher. And then if you look at 2013 in that same little paragraph there was only 2,074 calls in the whole year for 13 for the city of Cold Spring. So obviously that number's gone up every year. Number 3, the city of Richmond. So December of 2015, they had 79 calls. That was a little light compared to what they have been, but 79 calls for that month. 5 medicals, 3 suspicious people vehicle reports, 4 ordinance violations, 2 open business doors, 42 traffic stops, which was 33 warnings during those stops and 21 citable offenses. We had 23 calls for police service, which is good there. Again, it's about a call a day, which for Richmond, that number was pretty decent. And they had 1 sexual assault that occurred in the city of Richmond during that month. So there was obviously those are 2 very serious cases. And that could be another reason why Richmond was a little slower. Obviously that's a case that you don't just get resolved within a shift. You know what I mean? There's multiple shifts that are taken up on that. Number 4, and this just talks about in 2015 there was 1,061 calls for service in Richmond compared to 958 calls last year. So there again, it's a little increase of 103, quite a bit more. Cold Spring had quite a bit more, but their numbers were obviously higher too. So a little more than 100 calls. But if you look at 2013, then this year's number, it's almost double what it was, which is just within 2 years. And then I had St. Boniface had called me, number 5, and I had done 2 canine demonstrations for the preschool kids. So that was pretty cool. So we did that, and I'm just going to talk about something briefly here. This is not on your stuff. We're talking about scams and things like that. Again, I don't know, some guys in the department. And now there's a new one out there. And probably not new to a lot of people, but new to us. I've never heard of this. Is a credit card scam where somebody will call you and say, hey, your Visa has been compromised. And they're just throwing a card out there, hoping you have a Visa card. And they're saying, hey, we're going to do some checking. It looks like somebody charged $600 in wherever, Bermuda, you know what I mean, that type of thing. Can you give me your social security card number? I just want to verify that this is who you are. And that's how they get you, by giving your numbers up. So if anyone ever calls you about your credit card being scammed, things like that, they're going to do it in the form of a letter, if that makes sense. Like IRS, that's a very common one. That one's been going around a lot, where they're calling you saying, you owe $1,200. If you give us your debit card today, we'll take care of it for $600. The IRS obviously would never call you. You know what I mean? They would always send you the form of a letter. And most people would know if they owe them money. But there again, they're just taking that chance. So hopefully 1 out of 300 people fall for it, and they make some money that way. So that's kind of how they make a living. It's very sad. And then one more thing, we had a lot of snowbird tickets last night for whatever reason. I don't know if people didn't know it was going to snow or whatever. But I just want people to be aware that if we get more than an inch and the maintenance crew calls us out, I had somebody come today and spoke to me about this. This is why I'm bringing it up. It's not like the city of Cold Spring Police Department, Richmond Police Department goes from the south, goes all the way through the north just writing tickets. If one of the maintenance guys is like, hey, I'm on 1st Street South, I got three cars I just plowed around, that's when we show up. That's when we write tickets. So it's not like we're out there trying to generate some kind of revenue, because writing snowbird tickets, you're not generating revenue. I mean, it's definitely more of a headache than it is generating revenue. But just so people know, if the streets are being plowed, we had an issue with the apartments to the west. They were going to be plowing out their lot. There was 3rd Street was plowed, okay? 11th wasn't. Some people came out because they were told to move their cars from the parking lot. Some decided to park on 11th, that wasn't plowed. And several other people decided to pull on 3rd, which was plowed. That was the correct thing to do. Because when the plow came on 11th, of course, what happened? They called us up. We wrote a couple snowbird tickets. They obviously weren't very pleased with that, and hopefully we got that resolved. There again, common sense goes a long way. So if you see a street that's plowed, park on that street, I would hope. If there's one next to it that's not, one has to assume if the plow had plowed this street, very shortly they're going to be coming to that next street, and that was where the problem was. So if you do get some people calling or stopping and talking to you, that's pretty much the gist of it. The plows are out, they call us on our local channel, and we come by and issue a ticket. It's that simple. And I've been here for, what, 22, 23 years? It's not changed. I mean, and it's been that way. Paul Hessian was here for, what, 20-some years? It's been that long since anything has changed when it comes to that. So that's kind of where that stands.
By and large, though, the community's doing pretty well with parking and moving their vehicles.
Yeah,
by
you
and
know,
large.
here's another thing too. When we do issue parking tickets, I don't want to say it's the same people almost every time, but odds are it's going to probably be the same people every time. It just is what it is. I don't know how many we wrote last night. I'm guessing maybe 10, something like that.
Yeah,
Something like 10 tickets. So to say 10 citations for the city of Cold Spring, parking tickets, whatever we want to call them, that's not huge by any stretch. And they've forecasted the snow for a long time out, so it's not like they expected rain and just like that it decided to snow. This was something that was very, you could see it coming. I mean, so yeah, there's never been a snowstorm that I could think of that we didn't write 1 or 2. So 10, yeah, it is a higher number than I generally see, or we generally see, but it's not extremely out of the ordinary either.
Super. Chief, thank you. I have one more thing. Council, do you have anything for the chief at all?
Okay.
Okay. One more thing. I'm sorry?
Not on that part of the report.
Okay.
He's got his next step.
Okay. What I was going to ask you, though, about with regards to that part of the report, has to do with the new dog, or the
Yeah.
potential new dog. Is there anything that you can report with regards to that?
It's funny you bring that up. Just a couple days ago, Monday, just a couple days, yesterday, we had gotten another check from Richmond Bus Company. They donated $1,000 for the dog, so that is very nice. So we're up to like $11,500 in a month and a half. So that is very good. They had the article in the St. Cloud Times about Sartell or Sauk Rapids raising like $6,000. And how big a deal that was. I mean, if you think about that, Richmond and Cold Spring are way smaller than Sauk Rapids. And we've raised almost $12,000. So I mean, that shows you the how the community's coming together. I think that's a total of like 22 different people and organizations that have donated for this dog. So that is very neat to see.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we're that much closer.
And thank you, community. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I understand you have one more thing that we should be talking about.
That is an agreement. Basically what it is it's just so we can function, we can, give information back and forth. It really has not a whole lot to do with the officers. It has a lot more to when Angie's doing reports, and there's certain things that we ask of the BCA to do and so forth. So really, it's something that's been in place a long time. I never even heard about it, to be honest with you, before this. But it's something that's been signed, I think it's every 5 years. Every 5 years it gets signed. So it's just a way of functioning within the department. And it's not just Cold Spring, it's every department has this agreement. It's similar to like TZD stuff that we have. So we're able to patrol the city of St. Cloud and so forth. It's just a matter of understanding, if that's how you want to look at it.
Okay. Chris, do you have anything that you'd like to add to that interpretation? Angie, do you have anything that? Okay. All right. Then item number 11. Chris, if I can ask you to read that, please.
Sure. State of Minnesota Joint Powers Agreement, Resolution Number 2016-03. Recommendation is to approve Resolution Number 2016-03, a resolution approving State of Minnesota Joint Powers Agreement with the City of Cold Spring on behalf of its city attorney and police department.
Council, any questions about that at all? Otherwise, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Jan, thank you. Can I get it second?
I'll second.
Jamie, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Perfect. We'll get it signed. We're back in continuing operations.
Sounds good.
What else you got for us?
We did get the Ford Explorer in. We have the decals on it. We have the lights, the radio. Ron just picked a rotten time to go on leave because we had gotten all that in just before he went on his to get his foot resolved, and we have the cage and the back seat to go, and then it'll be fully completed. I did drive it just a few days ago, and it is extremely nice. It's for one, you're higher off the ground, so you could see a lot. The visibility is a lot better. The road conditions are the way they are. I mean, that all-wheel drive works out really nice. It does have a lot more room in it. Schwieters did a very good job. They literally, I was expecting to have to drive all the way out there to pick it up. They called up the day before it was going to be ready and like, hey, when can we deliver it? They brought it down here, dropped it off, the whole 9 yards. So that was very nice. Colin works for Schwieters. He used to work as like their manager, I think, out here at Schwieters in the Chevy one. They actually brought him out to the Ford dealership, and he's kind of running that. And it was a very great experience. It's kind of amazing how you wait a whole year for a car to show up, and then you wait like 3 months or whatever it was for the Ford. It was very nice not having to wait that entire year. So it definitely will be noticeable, I'm guessing, for maintenance of our vehicles, because now we're starting to cycle the older ones out. So now we have the original black and white one that we got a year and a half ago. That one maybe has 20-some thousand, and then so we're gonna have like 3 cars that are under 20,000 miles. That is gonna be a huge difference versus driving a fleet of cars when the average mileage is 100,000. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that we're gonna be very noticeably different. Then we're just down to oil changes, thank gosh, versus trannies and stuff like that. So I think it'll be a benefit that way.
So what's the color on the Explorer? Is it black or is it black and
Yeah,
white,
it's
or-
okay. So here's the thing. We remember that black and white one.
Yep.
We went with the first black and white one, had the white top, and everybody thought it was the greatest cat's meow. But you know what? No, it was. I don't want to say we want to advertise we're coming, but that one there, you could just as well drove with its lights on 24 hours a day. It was that noticeable. So the Ford now, and the one since the black and white one, is only going to have, it's all black, it's got a white door, and it's got this patch, actually. It's Tommy designed the patch. So, think about a state patrol squad. Okay, instead of being maroon, anything that's maroon on a trooper squad is black on these now, with the white door, and then it's got this patch. Instead of like the Minnesota seal, like the state patrol has, it has this patch. And Troy Kramer, he's the one who does the decals. The loon and the sunset and all that, it's amazing what you can do with graphics. I mean, I wasn't so sure. I was kind of thinking it was just going to be really generic looking loon, and some people wouldn't know it'd be a loon, that type of thing. But it looks really nice. So since then, they've taken the white off the roof of the black and white one, that original one. So now it just says the white there. So it looks a little more consistent. So what we're going to have is the black Tahoe, that's got the Ghost graphics, right? The Ford Explorer, the black with the white door, you know what I'm saying? And then we have a car looks just like that Ford, so we got that new Chevy, so those two look identical. Then the original black and white one, it's gonna be a little different because it doesn't have the patch, but it's gonna say Cold Spring in Richmond on the side, and now it does not have the white roof, so it looks very similar to those other ones. And then we're gonna be down to the 2 original blue ones, so we're gonna be down to those. And what we did with those is we kind of downplayed those also, because I didn't want to have a fleet of like miscellaneous looking cars. Pete Weber and Eric, one of the officers, they heated the decals off, so I took those off. So now they're going to be blue squads with just a badge on the passenger side. And what that is one of those I'll be driving, and then one will be for the school resource officer. Because I don't want to say there was some parents concerned about always seeing a squad car at the school, but there was. You know what I mean? There was people coming to me going, why is there a squad at the school? What was going on there? There's still parents out there that didn't realize that we had a squad car and a cop up at the school all the time. So by doing this, it still has a spotlight, but I think a lot less people will be very concerned about seeing that car at the school. So I'm trying to downplay that car a little bit, is what I'm trying to do. So it's still there, people still recognize it, but maybe it's not drawing so much attention, as why do we, the kids that bad at school, they have to have a cop, squad car there. Why are they there every day? They don't realize it. That's what you have. You have a school resource officer. So if that makes sense. So if you look at it to be like, it doesn't look like a squad. It's still a squad, it has all the lights and all that. It's just that on the passenger side, there's a badge. It looks like a badge on the fender. So that's what it'll be.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. What else? Council?
Nothing for me. Got
Chief?
nothing.
Excellent.
Sorry?
Got nothing.
Chief, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, item number
Thanks, Chris.
12 on our agenda. Chris, I'm afraid it's your turn again.
Okay. The first thing I have is a pay equity report. This is something that we are required to do every 3 years. We have till January 31st to submit it, so I do need you to approve it tonight if you can. We've always hired Kathleen Murphy to do it, and she did this one as well. I provide her with all the full-time positions, everybody's pay, and if it's a male or female person doing the job. She plugs all this information into the state's system, and it just tells her if we comply. And it's basically the state's way of monitoring all cities to make sure that that jobs that are predominantly done by female are being paid equitably for the jobs that the men are doing. And we are in compliance. It's not official till we submit our report and get a notification back from the state, but all indications are we should be in compliance. If you don't file on time, or if you file and you're not in compliance, they say that they may take away some of your state aid money. I don't know exactly what that means. We've never had that happen, so. Any questions for me on that?
None for me.
Okay, if there are no questions, then I think it's time for you to read the recommendation then, please.
Okay. To approve the 2016 Pay Equity Implementation Report completed by Kathleen Murphy as presented.
Any questions? Otherwise, we need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Jamie, thank you.
I'll second it.
Dave, thank you. Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. That is passed.
Okay, good.
All right.
I will need your signature tonight.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I have is just an update on the city administrator hiring. The hiring committee met last week, and we went through the applications, and we are currently in the process of getting those interviews set up. We narrowed it down, and we're going to be selecting candidates to interview. Don't have them set up yet, so that's coming.
Excellent. Thank you for that,
Okay.
too. Appreciate that. Item number 13 on the agenda is something regarding the Fire Relief Association. Are you
Yeah.
going to run out and grab?
If you guys don't mind giving me a minute, they're in their fire meeting. Would you?
What do you want?
It's just the Relief Association officers.
Okay.
They
And
know
wh-
about
and-
it,
And
so.
while he's doing that, speaking of the city administrator, I just want to run something past the council real quickly. One of the things that we have talked about sort of in the past is the idea of entering into a conversation with Richmond with regards to the idea that they are looking for an administrator, we are looking for an administrator. Is it okay with the council if we just have a conversation and see if that goes anywhere? If it doesn't go anywhere, can we just have a conversation? Is that okay?
For the purposes of?
To see if we want to actually enter into more formal conversation, I guess is what I'm saying. More than anything, it's exploratory. Is there any interest? Because again, on our own, we can't do anything. They have to agree to
Thanks.
it, and we have to have a conversation. And I'd just like to be given permission to just see if they have any interest whatsoever.
In sharing interest in administrator.
Huh?
A shared administrator.
Yeah. And again, people people frequently ask, well, what would it look like? That's what we need to talk about. I don't know what it would look like. We have a shared agreement with the police department where basically it's a service contract. The school district has a shared agreement with the superintendent. Again, there are all kinds of things that it could look like. What would it look like? What do we want it to look like? So again, I just want to know if it's okay to start having a conversation and see if it goes anywhere.
Who would you have it with?
To begin with, what I'd like to do is I'd like to call their mayor and just see if I can have a conversation.
Is Marty gone, or?
Marty,
29th.
the 29th, this Friday?
Friday.
This Friday.
The other side of the street.
Going to Rockville.
Oh.
This Friday is
okay.
his last day in Richmond.
Gotcha, okay.
And there is,
I don't have the objection to have the conversation. I mean,
Yeah, you can have the conversation.
right,
Yeah.
I just don't know how it would look yet, but yeah, you have a
Yeah.
conversation.
And again, I have no idea what it's going to look like either. But again, I just want to, because we have the opportunity, we're looking for an administrator. Shortly, they will as well. Is this the time to talk joint, or is it time to keep it on the back burner and maybe next time? So, all right, then what I'll do is I'll try to report back to you when I get something. But again, what I'm hoping to be able to do is to reach out and talk to their mayor and just see what, if anything, we can have for a dialogue. So, they still need a couple more minutes?
I guess they,
They were meeting with some woman, they said they needed 3 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Then, is there anything else that the council would like to talk about? At the end of the meeting, y'all get a chance to have your 2 minutes or 3 minutes anyway. I'm just saying, do you want to take it now? So, Jamie, got something?
Yes, two things. The Business Chamber After Hours will be here next Thursday, February 4th at 5 p.m. And then also coming up, we have the Chamber Community Showcase on March 19th, which is a Saturday.
Okay, excellent. And now the showcase, that's usually an event up at Rocori, is that correct?
Corey High School, yep.
Okay.
More details to come.
More details to come?
Yep.
And you'll bring them to us?
Yes,
Thank you, excellent. Okay, thank you. And those are your things?
that's my things.
Okay, Dave, what do you got for us?
I was at a meeting last night.
Excellent.
Wakefield Township,
Okay.
about the annexation. And would you say there was about 50 people there? Something like that? And not a one wanted annexation. Not anybody that was there. They talked about, the concerns like the transportation, people driving through there, because there was talk about running that street straight through, 241st, straight through, and that was never, I know we never discussed that yet, but that's one of the concerns they had. There was the price, how much it was gonna cost them, they do not want it. That's pretty much what they said. But the transportation, we talked about transportation plans. They talked about it last night. Do you remember the guy that had that bike, talked about the bike thing, Heidi?
Was that Altman?
He said something about he might have property that can be negotiated at some time to run a path through there, his place? Belmont, okay. But I thought, that was that was something interesting, because I know the city has been talking about, had talks about running a bike trail from North Point down to like the school and connect, and I don't know where Belmont is or where his property
Belmont would
is.
be closer to County Road 2 than to County Road 50.
Okay,
Where you turn north on 4th to go into North Point,
yep.
off 241, 2 down on the right.
Oh, okay.
And his
And that
daycare
one-
house was right next to it, so.
And that would almost work if you could run it down by the field down there by Fuchs's and over, if there'd be a way of doing it. And he said that's just something to think about. I thought that was pretty good news, but that's about all I had with that. But I just know that their general consensus last night was, no, we don't want it, so.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for attending and thanks for the report.
Yes.
Jan?
I went to the Stearns County Municipal League meeting last week. It was held in Paynesville. The speaker that night was everyone from the Stearns County Attorney's Office and several police officers that are involved with the sex trafficking task force. And they talked about the impact and the amount of sex trafficking that happens in central Minnesota, which is kind of one of those topics that you don't want to hear about. So it was a very good presentation, and they have a lot of information in the county attorney, or the county attorney's office, and their task force is willing to share that with anyone that wants more information. And there's 3 upcoming meetings for the Stearns County Municipal League, May 17th, October 18th, and then January 17th of 2017. And the next one will be in Kimball. They're looking for a host for October. So if Cold Spring's interested in hosting, they're going to take, at the next meeting, they'll ask for the host for the next one, so.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. What else?
That's it.
Well, thanks for attending the meeting. Thanks for the report. Fran, what do you got?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No.
Huh. Bummer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, what do you have?
That's a really good question. Really good question. I have something new. Last year, for the first time, I was given the opportunity by the Cold Spring Chamber to appear in front of the chamber and give a State of the City address. And this year, we're trying to find a date and a time that would work for me to do it again, and we're not having much success at this point. So what we've done instead is I've written it up in anticipation of it. I wrote it up, and Mike Ostring has agreed that he would publish it. So if I don't get to deliver it, at least it's going to be published, and so you can see what my vision is for 2016 with regards to the city of Cold Spring. And council, I think you're going to be impressed because I say good things about all of you, but I really think, in my opinion, the best things we say are about the administrative staff and how they stepped up for us in the year 2015. So we would like to say again, thank you to you. Thank you. And then I also say nice things about all of the department heads, because without them, the city of Cold Spring couldn't be what the city of Cold Spring is. So again, thank you. Thank John. Thank you. We can't do it without him. So that's basically what it says. And then it says in there that one of the things that we're trying to do for 2016 is we're doing some planning with regards to this building. What's it going to look like? What parts are going to be moving around? And so we're going to do some planning with regards to that. We've been hearing a lot of comments with regards to when we redo Red River Avenue, how big of a difference that's going to make in the city. What are we doing as far as planning? What are we doing as far as planting trees and watering trees and all of that kind of stuff? So that's part of the reason why, Brian, again, thanks for your report today. Some of the things that people are very concerned about, you addressed. It's going to be a challenge. Anytime you do a major street like this and make a huge change to it, it's going to be a challenge. But I think we can handle it. I think we're going to be fine. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm wearing a badge tonight. A marketing kind of guy said that the chamber is real concerned about how do we convince people to keep coming to Cold Spring and keep shopping in town. And so they've got some different ideas. And I'm wearing a badge that is one of the marketing people's ideas, their thoughts. They're coming up with some ideas, and something is going to stick because Cold Spring is going to do very well in this process. Well, I just don't know what that means exactly yet. Right? Are they here yet? Because I can keep going if you'd like.
We could do our bills.
No, where are they?
And let's do that. Okay, we're going to skip 13 for right now and move on to item 14, if you would please.
Recommendation is to review and accept payment of accounts payable according to the list and supplemental list presented by city staff.
Can I get a motion, please?
Let's pay them bills.
Thank you, Fran. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Jamie, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. We can pay our bills for one more period. And then we pretty much have hammered out item number 15, and we shan't go to item 16, which is adjournment. We can't go to that until after we go back and address number 13. So, people in the audience, What have you got for us? Angie, you haven't said much yet tonight.
I don't have anything.
Not much to share tonight. Jamie, we're going to try it again. Your turn.
I've shared.
You're shared out?
I'm shared out. My
Shared out.
is in.
Okay.
Dave or Jan, should we talk about the presentation we had at our planning meeting? That was from Bruce Paulson. Well, yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Okay.
Oh,
Go. You can do it.
I can do it.
We're all looking at you.
Looks that way. I was trying to think basically what he's saying. It's like I'm just throwing this off the top of my head here, trying to think what he said exactly. But what we need to do is, first off, we need to meet with the heads of all the different places within this building and figure out what the needs are,
What they have now.
what they have now, what the needs are, and the future needs, and go from there.
And
That's
he
it.
put together a spreadsheet for
Okay.
each area.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be
So
helpful.
each area he kind of had a spreadsheet kind of earmarked toward each area.
Okay.
So that they can start with what we have now,
Yeah.
what we really want.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so did he give you some guidelines as far as how to address the different departments and all that kind of stuff? Or are you supposed to just give them the piece of paper and,
He just kind of went over, and there was people there from the library, there's people there from the police
Okay.
department.
Yeah. Okay.
So, his presentation, he kind of just talked about, these are general categories that he pulled from prior projects
Okay.
that they've done. So each department head should use these if they're appropriate. If not, there's room for you to put something more specific.
okay?
Yeah, there was comments which you can add whatever you
Yeah.
want at the end. Like furniture, whatever needs to be, for like administration, what they want, more offices, whatever. And it was very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So it sounds like it was a good first step.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
good first step. yes.
Okay, excellent. And again, can I invite you to keep doing this, but come back periodically and tell us what you're up to, what you're doing, so that the community understands how far we've gone with this planning process? Excellent, thank you. Gentlemen, we've been tap dancing, waiting for your arrival. Can I ask somebody to sit up here and talk with us, please? You're not coming? Item number 13 on our agenda, Fire Relief Association members will be here to present it will be present to discuss audit reporting requirements. If you would, please.
Well, we've basically been asked to kind of touch base again on the GASB 6768. I think we reviewed it, was it last March or so sometime we were here?
Yep.
And so I think it was brought to our attention again to kind of reevaluate that. So I guess I don't know if the city's had any opportunity to take a look at that. From your perspective, what the thoughts are or concerns are, if there's been anything, again, addressed on your end with it. I think last year we left here, the thought was that we take a look at it and stuff, how would it impact any of the reporting and stuff that the city needs to do, how it might impact the bond rating issues and stuff like that. So I think we're just kind of circling back and, touching base on the issue, and if we need to sit down with the city further to discuss that, to, I guess, get that process started.
Excellent, I appreciate that. I'm going to come back to you in just 1 second, but real quickly, just to make certain that everybody that's listening understands what we're talking about, you have a pension fund, and because you're part of the city becomes responsible for what you do. Even though you're basically independent, autonomous, we're still responsible. So what we're trying to do is figure out, how do you do your reporting, how do you do what you do, but at the same time, we can report the way we need to report. And it's been going along just fine. But now somebody has changed the rules, and I don't know who it was, but some great mind has changed the rules, and they now said that your requirements have to change, sorta, maybe, perhaps. But our rules definitely have changed because of how you act or react. So when we talked to Nancy, who was the city's auditor, what did she have to say with regards to this interaction between the police association, fire association and the city?
Well, just to back up, the GASB 67 stated that relief associations were supposed to have an actuary done. And then GASB 68 is a new requirement for cities saying we have to adopt their information into our audit. And if they don't do it or we don't do it, we can get a modified statement, which means it's just not a clear statement. You guys gave them approval last year to skip having their actuary first. So for 12/31/14, you didn't do it, right?
Correct.
And then we left it open for 12/31/15, and we were going to come back and talk about it. And that's now KDV is asking what we've decided. When we talked about this last, we basically have three options. We can either tell them they don't need to do it. We can tell them they need to do it and they need to pay for it. Or option 3 was we can tell them they need to do it and they had asked if we'd pay for it. Or maybe there's some kind of combination in there. And just as a reminder, about a year ago I had checked with some of the cities and around here, and one city, the 3 I checked with is Richmond, Rockville, St. Joe. One city said they require their fire department to do it and didn't help pay for it. One of the cities said they require their fire department, but the city paid for it, and the other one hadn't done anything yet. So we're kind of all over the map on that. Maybe we just need to make our own decision, but so that brings us to where we are now. What are the implications if we don't do it? That's the thing that nobody will give you a solid answer on, as we've talked about before. KDV doesn't really advise on that. That's not their job. I had talked with Tammy Amdahl back in March of last year from Northland saying, could this affect our bond rating? And nobody will tell you for sure. Even Moody's won't tell you for sure. She kind of indicated probably not, if you want to go on that. So everything we're doing is really just going to have to be our decision, because nobody will give you a solid. I think the other thing we were a little bit worried about was whether it could affect our local government aid, and I talked a little bit with Nancy on that, and I don't think the state is saying that it will.
Right, because as a reminder, this isn't a state requirement. Our audit that we typically have done annually in conjunction with the city's audit with KDV, audits to make sure that the payouts of what our liabilities are versus our assets, that we have enough to cover that. So that audit is what the state requires and satisfies our requirements with the state. But this is a step kind of above and beyond what the state's even requiring.
Right, GASB is a federal organization. Mm-hmm.
My understanding is part of the reason we were hesitant on this is because you guys didn't jump up and down and say, sure, we'll do it and we'll pay for it. So then it became a cost-benefit type of a thing. So there is a cost. Do you have any idea if they go ahead and do it, what's it going to cost just to perform the services? A ballpark.
Last year's estimate was $3,000.
Okay, so it's roughly $3,000. And now the question is, are we going to get at least $3,000 worth of benefit from it? And again, as you mentioned, it's not going to make any difference to the state. And it's not going to make any difference to the firefighters. So really, it's not going to make a difference to that. It's going to make a difference to the city somehow, but we're not really sure how that is either. Originally, this past spring when we had this conversation, my fear at the time was, because we know this fall, we're going to be going out to borrow a bunch of money because of this road construction. And so a small little 0.1%, an 1/8 of a percent on a big enough number of dollars chews up that $3,000 really, really fast. So that was my concern. Do we spend the $3,000 and save it on the other end? When I asked Chris the question, well, you already heard her answer. Nobody will give us a straight answer. Nobody perhaps can give us a straight answer. So, council, what do you think? What do you want to do? Is it worth it? do you want to spend the $3,000, whether we spend it or they spend it? Do you want to spend the $3,000 and take the risk that nothing will happen? To take the risk that something will happen and it's going to somehow affect our bond rating? I mean, what are you willing to do? What are you not willing to do?
That's my biggest fear, is that with that bond rating, because we have two big projects coming up. And it's, if they could easily say, nope, that's not gonna matter, but they're not. Might not.
Right.
That's such a hard, that to me, $3,000 investment might be worth it to make our best, put our best foot forward for the bonds. And as far as that 3,000, whether we split the cost, whatever, I'm leaning toward that, just.
Okay, Fran?
Can we ride that to the 11th hour and then do something?
Yeah, I think this is the 11th hour, though.
This is oh, it is.
But the answer to your question is yes.
Well, if we rode the horse already this
Can our
and I don't even know the horse's name.
refer us to somebody who knows?
The auditor, I don't think
I'm not
KDB
comfortable arbitrarily going into something and saying, let's hope it works out or hope it doesn't work out. I mean,
Well, I will tell you that because I'm a CPA and KDV's a CPA, I can tell you that from my firm's position, we will not advise on this issue. We will tell you what we know, we will tell you what we think we know, but we will not give you a legal opinion. For that, you must go to an attorney.
i.e., can somebody refer us to somebody who knows something about it? Because it appears that nobody knows enough about it to give us an answer.
And because it's a new requirement, it's probably that nobody has any.
Nobody has.
I can look some more. Nancy, I already checked with everybody Nancy referred me to, but
Okay.
I didn't ask the city attorney. I don't know if she would know any more about it than Nancy, but.
And then it comes down to, okay, if we talk to the attorney, then we're whipping away most of that 3,000 in attorney's costs.
Yeah, some of
Would
it.
that be a cheap insurance policy, 3,000?
Well, I think that's what I heard Jan say.
Yeah.
Do we want to spend the money? No. But if
No,
it's that, or you're potentially setting yourself up, how big of a mistake do you have to make? 0.1% on a big enough bond issue, that $3,000 is chewed up really, really fast.
So let's be back up here a second. Is the question is if we don't do it, something might happen, but if we do it, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
Then let's do it. I'm in favor.
We will get a modified opinion. And what does that mean? I mean, people will look at our audit and they will see that we have a modified opinion.
Which is not the best rating.
It's not a clean opinion.
Right.
And that will be probably the only mark on it, but it's a mark. And
If we didn't have these big projects coming up, I'd be more likely to say, let's just wait. But
and for
because-
whatever it's worth, two of our neighboring communities did them, Richmond and St. Joe. And I'm not saying we have to do what they do, but apparently they're feeling the same pressures as we are.
I'm in favor of doing it.
Okay, so let's go down, in a second, I'm going to turn the page over, but for now, let's go down the path. We're going to do it. Who's going to pay for it? Does the city pay for it? Do we put it on them? Do we split it with them?
Yeah, look at, they're really happy.
Yeah.
I'll get the other guys over here.
I say we do it, and my opinion is that either the city absorb the cost, because we will be the ones that would reap the biggest benefit from it.
Me too. Let the
I
city
think so
pay.
too.
You okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, all right, then what we're going to need, and you have to help me with this one, what we're going to need is the verbiage so that we can approve that we're going to go ahead and insist that they have
An actuary.
the actuary do this service, and that the city is going to pay for it. We're not going to require the Relief Association. So you can wordsmith that
Yes.
appropriately? Do we need it tonight, or are you going to come back with it?
If you're comfortable making that motion tonight, we'll get it correct in the minutes.
Okay, is somebody willing to
I'll
make?
make that motion.
Jan, thank you.
I'll second it.
Dave, thank you. We have a motion and a second. And again, please, what we're saying is we are going to require the Relief Association to have the actuary perform the services to comply with this gas.
Yep, for 2014,
For-
or 15, sorry.
Thank you, for 2015. And that the city is going to pay for it out of our general funds. That's the motion, and that's the second. So, question about it? Comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes unanimously. If you'd be kind enough to go back and tell everybody what we decided. But the good news, and there is good news, the good news is it's not going to cost your Relief Association anything. And again, thank you for coming out and talking to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
And again,
guys.
thank you for doing all that research. Again, I wish I had, I wish I could give you a straight answer, and again, I know that's what you wanted, but I can't. Because it's new, because it's ambiguous, because it's so many things, and then after the CPA profession is done with it, you're going to put it out to the market, and the market's going to say, because you did this and this and this, and you didn't do this, how big of a difference is it going to make? Nobody knows. Is it worth the risk? I think you phrased it nicely. It's cheap insurance.
And we put this back on the budget review for next year to see what our thoughts are for 16.
Yep.
I'll try to do a better job of remembering that. Sorry about that.
All right. Now I believe we're on item number 16, which is adjournment. I need a motion, please.
Make that motion.
Dave, thank you. A second?
Second.
Jamie, thank you. A motion, a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Ladies and gentlemen, I think, again, we had a special meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all